hey, if you're a US citizen and you want to protect your retirement and you haven't got our free ebook yet, then you're really missing out. So click on the link in the description and find out how you can secure your retirement and your future today. Hi, Lee. How's it going?
Adam,
Yeah,
James,
okay,
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. How
yeah,
are
and to
you?
you, mate, and to you.
Did you have a blinding one or steady?
Just nice and quiet for me. I'm old now.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
It gets like that, doesn't it? It's more for the children, isn't it? The
Yeah,
Christmas
yeah,
stuff.
of course.
And the New Year, man, I can't, listen, the last couple of ones I've been out, I ended up
Mm,
leaving halfway through. You're
yeah.
paying over the odds for like a shit dinner, to be honest, that in a
Mm,
restaurant that's just so rushed because there's so many people there. And
yeah.
last 2 years I didn't do anything. I didn't go anywhere. I just
Yeah.
went for a hike in the mountains with the dogs, and I thought,
Mm,
no hangover, which is a
yeah, yeah,
big thing.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Starting the year with a hangover is bollocks, isn't it?
Yeah. I
yeah,
think
yeah. That's the best way to do it, mate.
Hmm.
Climb up a
those
hill.
those parties
Yeah, I was in,
never really come to much anyway, do they? They're always hyped up and then it's always a bit of an anticlimax.
massively. I was in the gym
Mm,
on New Year's Day.
That's
Yeah,
it.
I don't blame you. I'd be
Get
much
ready.
happier there. Much
Yeah, yeah.
happier there. Do you know the best New Year I ever had was in Kenya. I'm doing some volunteer work out there many years ago, and we just decided to. Well, we got to know a Maasai tribesman. A long story short, but we got to know a Maasai tribesman really well. He went, "Why don't you come out to the village?" So we went out to the village in the middle of nowhere. And
What was that
stayed,
like?
stayed with them overnight. It took like two buses, a car ride, then on a bike, and then we walked the last few miles. It took us ages. It was just we just sat there going, "Wow, we do not believe what we're doing here." What? It's quite scary because
Yeah, I
the
bet.
people where we went, it wasn't a tourist thing. They hadn't seen white people. You could tell because all the kids kept prodding us and seeing our skin change colour when you touched our white skin, and yeah, yeah, and it was just yeah, it was surreal. But yeah, we helped them out and took them some like pens and pencils and just things that all the kids love. And yeah, I
Yeah.
went out there with two
There was
soldiers and a nurse, 200
26 of us
soldiers.
it was 26 of there was 26 of us on the bus, but by the time we got to the village, there was only three because the lions got them. But that's pretty standard out there, isn't
God.
it?
Do you know what? We were mentioning about the lions, and they said it's not the lions you want to be worried about because they're wise enough, they're clever enough to keep away from human beings. Well, they said something along them lines, and they said I think it was the bull and the hippos or something like that
Mm,
you've got to be
Hippos are,
wary of.
yeah, hippos are very
Yeah,
territorial, aren't they?
yeah,
Territorial.
yeah, yeah.
mm,
Oh, mate, that was an adventure of a lifetime. That was. It really was. They looked after us. Are really, really nice people, and yeah, yeah, it was good. It was just an eye opener. Let's just say that, especially when we turned up in Maasai gear. So we got dressed in Maasai gear too, which one of the
Throw
lads
some
thought was a
spears.
good idea. And we had spears and all sorts. Like, oh, anyway, yeah.
right.
But anyway, yeah, that was a new year for you. I'd rather be doing that than going to a pub somewhere
Yeah,
or a
100%.
club or whatever. Much better.
Right, what we got then, chaps? I'm going into this
Well,
blind.
yeah, we just wanted to go over our investment journey. We've talked about like how we got started in metals, but we've not really talked
Mm,
about we've called it kind of like surviving the emotional roller coaster of investing
Hmm.
and talk you through each stage of our journey and what we were thinking at the time, whether we were panicking or whether we were like happy about it, and what we've learned from that and what we think now. So we'll go through it kind of section by section, and you'll see what we mean. And I think a lot of people will relate to this because when you first get started and the price goes up, you know arranging that party, and then when the price goes down of metal, you feel like, oh, this has been the worst decision ever. But we want to zoom out from that and just show you what can happen over the long term. And
mm.
yeah, the lessons that we've learned. Hopefully, people can learn those lessons as well from us.
Right, let's start with our
So,
journey then.
James, just give us a quick disclaimer before we start.
Oh yeah, we can't forget the disclaimer, can we? Yeah. Uh, as ever, this isn't financial advice. It never will be financial advice. It's not in our DNA. It doesn't happen. We only ever share information with everyone. They can either take it or leave it. And yeah, we just share our journey, what we do for our family and our friends, and thousands of customers now, not just one or two now,
Mm,
thousands of customers. We just show them how we've all benefited and how they can benefit if they so wish. We help them take the first step and the next step and the following step. We help them on that journey if they want to, but it's totally up to them.
Perfect. Here we go.
Right.
Okay. So this is the price of gold from when we started investing up to current day-ish. We kind of put it together like a week or so ago, so it's out by a week, but it's years of data basically. And we started very humbly back here. And this is just gold, because when I first started, that's all I was buying, just gold. So we started here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a line on this chart just so you can see the price that we started buying at, and you've got some kind of frame of reference. Okay, so that's where we started. Let's just have a look at this first section. So we're going to break it down into sections. This was the first bit, and we're going to zoom into that just so you can see it in a bit more detail. So we'll zoom into that now. Okay, so look, I'll get my trusty laser pointer. So this section here, we're going to zoom in, and you can see it's coming down here. We've got the start point and we've got the line going across. So look, when we started, we knew that we wanted precious metals more than we wanted paper money in a bank, but we didn't really know what the journey would look like, and we didn't know what to expect. So we knew where we wanted to go. We just didn't know what the journey looked like, if that makes sense. So initially when we bought, I'm sure like everybody, we were hitting refresh like far too often, thinking, has it gone up? Has it gone down? What's it doing? And just wanting to be, what's the kind of phrase? We just wanted to be like all over it and checking it all the time. A bit possessive over it, I would say. And what happened, as you can see, this is April 2014, the price just came down quite consistently. So what we were thinking at this point is, this has been maybe not the best decision. What have we done? You know, the price is going down. Are we really confident about this decision? As I'm sure most people would be. I was thinking about you, Lee, with your crypto, when you've said,
yeah,
you know, it's just kept going down. Well, you don't always know where you are on the journey. So maybe this will bring you some hope and some light into what it could look like. At the time, we just thought it's going down. This is not good. And I think people always talk about, oh, fight or flight. But I think there's a third F that more people actually do, and that's freeze. I don't think most people actually do anything. I think they just freeze. And that's kind of what we did. So we were still like, look, we know this is long term, but still, you can't deny this is going down. You know, the
Adam,
fact
is that over 6 or 7 months? Because I've got my specs on, I can't see the bottom bit.
Yeah, so this is April 2014. So July, October 2015.
Yeah.
And then I mean, this is about that's a year, maybe 18 months, something like that.
Right.
Just roughly. So yeah, this is what was happening. We look at this whole section very differently now, and I'll come to that a little bit later, but that's what we were going through. And I'm sure there'll be people that maybe have felt the same. Okay, so going back to this, and please interrupt us if there's anything you want to clarify. So from this stage, we're then going to look at this stage.
Yeah.
And here it was just kind of going up a bit, down a bit, up a bit, down a bit. It was kind of ranging, no real clear direction. Here, you know it's going down. So the emotion that you're feeling is consistent.
Yeah.
It might be fearful, but it's consistently fearful, okay, if you can get anything from that. In this section, this is the roller coaster. Because it's great, this is going really well. Oh, no, it's not. This is going really well. Oh, no, it's not. And you're chopping and changing. So let's zoom in on that section. So again, this is the price that we started at. So when it had gone down, 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 and then it shot up, and we were back to where we started.
Yeah.
It would have been tempting for us to say, well, maybe that was just a close call. Maybe, you know, we've taken the down, we've held on. It's come back to where we got in. Do we just say, actually, let's just get out and consider it experience or an education or whatever? But we didn't. We held strong. And then we thought, okay, maybe this is looking up now. Maybe that was just beginner's luck. It was going down and it's gone up and it's going to keep going up from here. No, that wasn't the case. It went down again. We're like, oh no, this is happening all again. And this, like I said, this is the real roller coaster. When you think, oh, okay, another blip, maybe it's going back up. Okay, second chance, we're back to where we started. Now do we take our money off the table and say, lesson learned, we this is it for us. And we didn't, and we held on. And after a bit, you kind of get used to these ups and downs and go, look, it's long term, let's just stay with it. Again, a lot of the time we were below the price that we got in at.
Yeah.
We got up to it and then we came back down. And your brain kind of does funny things, and it kind of says, well, look, if it keeps getting to this point and then moving away and then to the point and then moving away and to the point and moving away, is that some kind of ceiling? Is that like the high? Is it never going to get past that? Is it like a psychological level? You know, all these things go on in your head. Anyway, we stayed strong. So from this section, and look, this is years. This is not a few months. This is years of this going on. The next stage is this one here. This is the easy one. This is the one everybody loves. And it's the bit that you can see on here. This is obviously time. Everything on here is kind of equally spaced as far as time. It's the shortest section, really. So look how long you had to wait before you got this, and how long afterwards, which we'll go into. So this is all about, people want to time the market. They want to pick the right point, get in just before it goes up, buy on the cheap, and then it rockets up, within a relatively short period of time, and then they get out. But timing the market, as you can see from this, really difficult. Really difficult. It's the thinnest section. So we think it's better to have, it's a bit of a cliche, but it does make sense. Better to have time in the market than trying to time the market. Because you just got to get in. You just got to get in and wait. It's about
the only wrong time is tomorrow, Adam, isn't it? The only wrong time is tomorrow. It's just get in. The sooner you get in, the better.
Does that make sense, Lee, so far?
Yeah. How long's the plan over, Adam? When did you start and how long have you done it for now?
So it's what, 2014 to now, so like what, 9 years, something like that.
All right, okay.
James was doing it a little bit, started a little bit before.
I started about a year before that. I think I bought my first gold at $1,100 an ounce. Even cheaper than that, yeah.
So when you look at this, it is real long-term investment when you look at them.
Yes. This is why we bore people to death, Lee. We bore people to death saying it's a long-term investment. Please don't be buying it today. Don't put too much in, whereas you might have to sell some next week to buy groceries or whatever. Don't put too much in. Just keep some back for emergencies. Don't put too much in because it is a long-term. You put it in and sit on it and just leave it alone. And we're trying to say to people, please don't look at the charts every day because it will drive you mad. That roller coaster of emotions, it will drive you up the wall. Just buy and hold, forget about it.
I think that's we go off 3 rules. So for us to put cash into metals, it has to be unallocated funds. So funds that have no other purpose, as in buying groceries, paying off your mortgage, or other expenses that you need. It needs to be kind of just sat, in a bank account or somewhere else, not really just gathering dust, not really doing much.
Yeah, you need to forget about it.
Yeah, and the third one is it needs to be long term. That's when if funds tick those 3 boxes, then we'll put them into metals. If they don't, if one of those isn't ticked, then we won't do it. Look, like James said, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that think gold is good and might be saying, buy gold and whatever. I'm sure there's not that many people will say what James just said, and that is don't buy too much. We're just giving you the honest answer and our honest experience as customers ourselves. We're not going to say, sell your farm and your house and your kids and everything else and just put it all into metals. It's about picking the right tool for the job. And we know that
most of the time, unless you're lucky, you will lose out selling short term. Unless you bought at the bottom of that where Adam's highlighted there. If you bought then, and then that was just luck, wasn't it? If you bought then, and then you'd have had some big gains within a short period of time. But
you can see that's the exception to the rule. In the time frame that we've been doing it, we can only talk about it. the emotions we've felt while we've been doing it. So look, let me
Mm.
zoom in on this section. Yeah, this one here.
Mhm.
So it doesn't look as steep because it's more spread out, but it's the same section. This is obviously the line that we started at. When it starts to pull away from here, we're like, this is new territory for us. And it goes up and up and up. At this point, you know, we're thinking that we're the smartest people on the planet, you know, oh, we knew it was always going to be good. And we never doubted ourselves and all these things that go off in your mind. Totally normal. But this is just the price of gold going up. And at this point, we were like, okay, we understand this is long term. We've seen the downs, we've seen the range where it just bounces up and down, and we've seen the up. At this point here, at around $2,000 an ounce, roughly, what we're actually thinking is, gosh, when it was going down, that was a sale, that was a bargain. We rather than being fearful, we should have actually been buying, but it's
Should have
not.
been buying more.
It's not the natural thing to feel. You want to freeze, not do anything. Well, I'm not going to put more money into something going down, am I? Why is, you know, what if it just keeps going down? I lose even. So all of these things. So from this section, looking at the next section, we're looking here and going, this looks familiar. Let me zoom in on this section. It's going down.
Yeah.
And we say, we've seen this somewhere before. And here's where we've seen it. This section here and this section here are similar in nature. They're going in a certain direction. So at this point, we're thinking, we've learned our lesson. We'd have loved to have bought down here or down here or down here. When you're up here, you know when you should have bought.
Yeah.
It's having the confidence to buy here when you've only seen this section. That's the difficulty. That's the challenge.
Yeah.
So at this new section, after the high, after the peak, it's coming down. We're going, well, we're prepared. We're prepared. As this is going down, we're buying. We're buying. We know that this is on sale. This is a discount. We've learned our lesson. We're not passing on this opportunity again.
I'm pretty sure we bought nearly just about at the 1700 mark there, Adam, too. I'm pretty sure we had a conversation there.
Yeah.
And we were like, we're buying more, definitely now. You know, we've learned a lot from that journey already, haven't we?
Yeah. Is this making sense, Lee?
Yeah, yeah.
And I think the way I see this is it's almost like different seasons. So we know in the seasons throughout the year, you know how to prepare for summer, for winter, for autumn, for spring, and you know how to manage those seasons. There's the same with investing. There's seasons. The only thing with investing is you don't always know what season's coming next. So you've got to learn what to do in each season. And then you just got to prepare for when that season comes to kind of act accordingly, to act appropriately for that season. You just don't know what's coming. That's the only thing.
There's something there, Adam, because add something there. This is when our mindset was starting to change before this point a little bit. We were starting, you know, but this really hit the nail on the head. This is why now we get excited when the prices go down. I know it sounds crazy, but it's flipped. You know, our thinking's completely changed now from the knowledge of the market. We've seen the journey. This is why I say to a lot of customers when I speak to them, when we talk about this journey, I'll say to them, it's okay for us because we've been on the journey. We've been within precious metal. Me personally, 10 years now. So I've seen the journey. But for people who are just starting out, and it can be quite difficult, especially if they're looking at the price every day. It drives you crazy, you know? So we're just sharing our knowledge and our experience and our journey so people can relate to it, you know? So they can understand the journey and understand that just because the price of metal goes down, that's not a bad thing. That's actually an opportunity. Completely different thinking, Adam, isn't it? We've done a complete U-turn on the way we think about precious metals.
Yeah.
And because when it went down at the very beginning, well, you know, the whole journey actually, Adam, haven't we? We've purchased every single 2 weeks religiously for this whole journey.
We just
Um,
kept, sometimes the
yeah.
purchase was harder to make than others and
Yes,
it's going
yes,
down, but we still did it.
yeah. But when we started, it was only 50 euros a month, for instance. But with the prices going down, that 50 euros is buying you more metal because the metals are cheaper. And guess what? Because you're buying more, when the prices do go up, you've got more to go up in value.
Yeah.
But because we kept going, because we stuck with it, that's why we're seeing the benefits now, because we stuck with it. We didn't, we didn't let our emotions take over.
Yeah.
And because and by 2020, well, 2019 really, 2020 onwards, we started to really understand it, and we started buying when the prices were hitting certain lows. Like when it got to the 1700 mark, we were like, right, buy more. We were still buying every 2 weeks, but we were also buying more at certain points when the prices dropped. It was an opportunity. It's a good
Yeah.
thing, not a bad thing. If that
Steady
makes
nerves
sense.
you need, I think, for this.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I think, if you know how the story ends, zoomed out, big picture, you can go through the in-between stuff far easier.
Mm.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah. If people understand this is why we're doing this, Adam, isn't it? So people can understand it, hopefully, and
yeah.
Not have
steady
to
the
go through it.
nerves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So by this point, we've changed our mindset and we're saying, look, total different viewpoint on it all. We're ready, we're prepared. The next section is kind of the section that we're still in, really, would categorize it as the same. And this is when we started switching. So we bring another element in. So precious metals, for us up until this point, we're all just passive. You buy, you hold, the price goes up, you win. If it goes down, then on the bit you've bought, well, as long as you don't sell it, but there's a loss, let's say. Once we started switching, we actually weren't as bothered about the price. The price could go sideways and we could still benefit. That was the key point. Because even to the point, let's take it out to the extreme. Let's say that gold never got higher than it is now. Okay, it never actually got to wherever people say it's going to go. And it just carried on. Let me zoom into this section. It just carried on, kind of pinballing around like this. Well, with switching, we can still take advantage. We can still have more metal at the same price. So imagine if you've got, I'm going to butcher the numbers, but just for round numbers, let's say it's 50,000 euros for 1 kilo of gold. It's not, it's a bit more, but let's just say for easy maths. Yeah. If you can multiply that 1 kilo into 2 kilos and the price is still at 50,000, you are still winning. Very simple math, you're still winning. Yeah. So for us, the price is one thing, but switching brought a whole nother element where now we have an active part of this, where we can actually multiply our metals. And even if the price doesn't go up, which we think it will, we're still benefiting. And then when it does go up, we've got more metal to go up. So we either win or we double win when we add switching. That's the way I look at it. And it brings a whole nother element to the journey. It gives us another lever of control, not just sitting there and going, oh, is it good today or is it bad today or what's it happened? We can actually maneuver some of this. The other way you could look at it, if you've made 20% more metal over the last few years, which would be very easy to do, we've got many customers that have done this. When the market drops 20%, you can go, well, I've got a buffer. I've actually covered, the downside, covered my backside, as James would say. Yeah. So I hope people can just gather something from this, that they don't have to go through it all themselves to learn those lessons, that they can get something from our journey. Let me just zoom out. So this is the journey that we went on. I've just gone back to the very beginning now. So this is where we started. Obviously, we had the first section, the range, the up, and the bit we're in now. What a lot of people often say when they see a peak like this, and then they see the price approaching a peak or hovering around a peak, they say, yeah, but that was the peak. And it's like the peak for some people is like a full stop. It will never get any further.
Stops them from getting started, doesn't it?
Yeah. And they think, well, why would I buy here? And yeah, there's some reasons why you might want to wait, but not enough for us really,
No.
because we understand the bigger picture. Let me zoom out even further on the price. So this is the price from 1997. So you can see generally up and to the right, it's got its ups and its downs and its dips and everything else. I'm pretty sure at this point here, when it
Yeah,
peaked,
that was a
relatively
peak.
speaking,
yeah.
it said,
If you put if you put a line under that, Adam, where you are there now, it's the same as it goes up, perfectly arched up, doesn't it? If you look
yeah,
at it. No, like between the mountain bit. If you do like
from
from
here,
that line right to the top and keep that bottom line as you're
like
going up,
that.
it's just steady in it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah,
Steady
if you
incline.
keep buying on a regular basis, then you'll get more metal when it goes down, and then when it goes up, you've got more to go up. So that evens everything out.
Yeah.
Look at this here,
Look at
though.
all the peaks on that jet. Look at all them peaks.
So this peak here, I'm sure people were saying gold hit its peak. I mean, what was this? $600, $700 an ounce. And people were saying, I mean, this is only what, 2006, 7, something like that.
7, yeah.
Hit its peak. That's it. It's done. Why would I buy now? Silly. Why would I even buy? Oh, and then it went up again. And there was another peak. Oh, no, this is really the peak. You know, it's tried to get up here and it's not. Oh, another peak. And it just keeps happening.
Yeah.
So please look at the bigger picture of where you are. Yes,
Yeah.
you know, anytime that it comes down, it makes sense to buy more. But the general rule, the general trend is up and to the right. Gold's a limited resource. So yeah, I hope that brings some clarity to people and helps them manage their investing journey from what we've been through.
Well, I think it's a great graph of experience what you put together there.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
that's
it's just so people can relate to it.
Because you've
Hopefully,
done
you
it,
know.
so you can't beat that when
Yeah.
someone's done it.
Yeah, exactly.
And then showed you the whole process. That's great information.
Yeah. Well, basically, anybody that opens an account with us, and the features of that account allows them to be able to switch. So that has really made such a big difference, Adam, hasn't it? I mean, we were confident by then by the switching stage anyway in metals. We were 100% in and confident in them. But then the switching's taken it to a whole new level. So, you know,
I think as well along the journey, you often find that sometimes you're running towards something and sometimes you're running away from something. And I think initially there was probably more of running away from paper money in a bank.
Yeah.
And less running towards metals, although we still wanted metals. But I think as time's gone on and we've got more confident, we're actually running towards metals, maybe more than we're running away from paper money in the bank, because we know the opportunity and we can see what it can do. And you know what we can do with it. It's not what it can do on its own in isolation. It's what we can do with switching to really multiply it. And you know, there's a lot going on in the world as we've talked about previously. We want something that we can control. Whatever happens, it's outside the system, and we're going to work hard to build it, and then it's going to look after us later in life. It's the whole idea.
We need to mention any US followers of Lee's, don't we? So basically, go on, I'll let you go. Go on.
Okay, yeah. So currently, as we stand here today, for US citizens, it's not possible for them to switch right now. But we're working really, really hard to make that possible. And we're gaining traction every week. It's just quite a big process, really. There's a lot of regulation and stuff like that and hoops to jump through. But please don't think if you're in the US, we've forgotten about you. I know we've been talking about this for a while. It's just something that's taken time. But we are getting very close now. And as soon as it is possible, we will let you know. We'll be shouting about it because we know.
Hula dresses doing a dance, won't we?
Yeah. Well, I'll leave that up to you,
excited
James.
because we've been on that journey for, is it 2 years now? 2-3 years? We've been setting this up for our friends over the water, you know? So it just wasn't fair. It's just not fair that they're not able to do it. So, and we don't know anybody else that does this. And there might be some other company somewhere that does this, but we don't know of one.
Yeah, we've not seen
the switching side. And we've got a lot of US followers that are saying, are you here yet? Are you here yet?
Yeah.
We're like, oh, we're getting there. We're getting closer. We will be soon. So yeah, it's
We'll
it's
we'll let you
evolving,
know.
Adam, isn't it? It is happening, isn't it? It is happening.
Yeah.
So
It's inevitable.
Like process.
Yeah. There's just you know, to have the capacity to be able to switch metals, and have them, you know, in the vault and have all that to be made possible. It's it's a fair operation.
US
But
US citizens can still benefit, though, can't they, Adam, from our education, from what we do, from the gold silver ratio, what we
sure.
teach, from just
Yeah, of
even if
course.
they just use it to know what to purchase, gold or silver, that will benefit them, you know.
And
Yeah.
even learning it for now until so that they can deploy that
Yeah.
knowledge when they can switch. It's still worth learning and getting to grips with. So yeah.
And if any US citizens want the calculator, we can still send them that. You know, the switching calculator, we'll still send them that, so they can see what's possible and get their head around it and learn it.
Sure.
So we're happy to send them that. You know.
No, listen, it's great information, boys. That graph was excellent. So somebody getting into the game, it's such a big eye opener. You know, it's like sit back and relax. You don't have to worry about it when you look at that, because you're thinking, fuck, up and down, and then just you know, when I said about that, when it just goes, if you cut all the peaks out, you just see it just constantly goes steady and up.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
like you say,
we
long
haven't
term
got into
investment.
this year on that graph either, Lee. Sorry for cutting you off there, but we haven't got into. It's smashed over the 2,000 mark since we put this
Still going
together.
up.
Right.
So
Well, listen, boys, the information on the show is absolutely fantastic. It's a no-brainer for a lot of people.
yeah. Well, thanks for having us.
Oh,
Thank
thanks,
you very
Lee, mate.
much. See you in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, we'll see
Yeah,
you
you
soon.
take care.
All right,
Happy New
cheers.
Year.
And you, mate, and you.